Joel Embiid is currently dealing with knee issues again. I have to say this is not surprising, but the 76ers are trying to manage his left knee from what I've heard that they call it left knee management. And Joel Embiid was asked about the possibility of him playing back-to-back games this year during the regular season. His response was, if I had to guess, I probably will never play consecutive games for the rest of my career. So, if you're a Sixers fan, this is a very damning statement, and it has to be worrisome and troublesome because it really shows how fragile Joel Embiid's body is right now. That in the prime of his career, he can't play back to back, which shows he probably does not have much left in the tank. Just you don't know if he'll be playing basketball, I would say 3, 5 years from now, knowing how fragile his body is. So it definitely has to be concerning. And I have never trusted Joel Embiid when it comes to being healthy ever since the 2019 playoffs. I was actually rooting for him to succeed against the Raptors that year because as a Spurs fan, I was very salty about the Kawhi Leonard saga with the Spurs, and I wanted Kawhi to fail badly in the worst of ways. And I was relying heavily on Joel Embiid to come through that series, but he failed miserably. But one thing that really stood out to me in that series was how unhealthy he was. He seemed like he was dying from some kind of disease or something in that 7 game series against the Raptors. He just looked bad. He looked very weak when he was running up the court. He looked like he was in some agonizing pain. He had like a mysterious illness the Sixers didn't really diagnose during that series or let people know what it was, but you could tell he was sickly running up and down the court, and he looked really, really bad. That series didn't end well for him, just especially that last game where Kawhi hit that famous game-winning shot that bounced into the rim and went back into the hoop. That was a memorable shot, and he was the victim of that. So it didn't end well for him, but I think it put everybody on notice that this guy is not in good shape. He doesn't take good care of himself, and there's just something about his body that he keeps on getting these weird injuries, or he's dealing with some weird illness with his immune system or something. This guy is just not healthy to play basketball. And speaking of Kawhi, just this guy's going on the same trajectory as Kawhi Leonard. I definitely believe that. Just now they're doing this load management stuff with him like they did with Kawhi starting several years ago in 2019. Now it's 2024, and Kawhi is now being questionable if he's going to play in the start of the regular season for the Clippers home opener. And we have seen the last few years with Kawhi just how he's just not available, especially when it matters in the playoffs. He's not available. You have to assume that this is in store for Joel Embiid also, that he's going to start having to deal with these types of things. These more nagging injuries are going to occur as he gets older. I think Joel is now 30, so things tend to get rougher once you turn 30 when it comes to getting hurt and getting a lot more ailments when it comes to your body. So you have to assume that he's going to be plagued with this type of stuff. Sixers are trying to do this cautionary measure by doing load management, but I'm not sure it's going to work out for them. Maybe they'll get lucky like the Raptors did in 2019 with their load management and somehow fluke their way to winning one title. It's a possibility. It could happen if they can somehow rest him for most of the regular season and finish with a top 4 seed and somehow sneak him in at full health during the playoffs. Sure, it could happen, but I highly doubt it's gonna work out. Look at Kawhi; he hasn't had any success since 2019 when doing this load management. So I'm more likely to bet against the Sixers and Embiid succeeding in this scenario. I think this is going to be long-term failure and pain for the Sixers. It's going to be a lot of misery for their fans because this is like basically the red flag. Just when you look at his situation, that this is like the worst of many things to occur when it comes to this guy, when it comes to injuries. And you're never going to be able to assume that you're going to have him when it really matters, especially during the playoffs. Or if you do, you're just going to have to deal with him probably being banged up and not 100%. So this is what awaits the Sixer fans and the Sixers organization. I just don't see them succeeding, and this is like a dark path they're heading down with him and now with Paul George's injury problems. So that's what I wanted to say about this.